Hello, everyone. Derek Floyd here, Beautiful Now Podcast. Welcome to episode 51 of Chasing the Impossible. Now, this is the segment where I interview special guests that seem to have accomplished seemingly impossible things along the way in their journey to let you know no matter what you're chasing, no matter what your dream may be, if they can accomplish their impossible, then guess what? You can accomplish yours too. And if you enjoy this type of content, do me a favor, pause right now, hold on before we go any further, and hit me with a like or subscribe to the channel. This lets me get the most updated content to you as soon as it's available. And please hit the little bell next to it. This lets me alert you when new content has been released. And if you really enjoy the content, do me one more favor. Please share it with a friend, because my goal is to make sure everybody leaves uplifted, encouraged, and inspired. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be a music director? The gentleman on the stage that orchestrates everything happening for a big concert. Whether it's J-Lo or Ricky Martin or Estelle or John Legend, all these great artists that have been out there, this gentleman has been at the helm of each one. He's worked with artists like Prince and Chaka Khan, just to name a few. If you think about the person who actually manages the entire thing from start to finish, this is that guy. And he's a young man that's got a story to tell that might just surprise you. So if you want to hear about a music director that's done a little bit of it all, please join me in welcoming our special guest today, Mr. Javed, Mr. Kylnik Day. Javed, you there, man? Talk to me.
Hey, man. What's up, D? How are you, bro? So happy to be here, man. It's been a long time coming.
Mr. Kylnik. That's what they call you.
Yeah, that's what they call me.
Man, it's been a while, but we've been trying to get together for like months, right? It's taking us forever. So with all that in mind, let's jump right into the questions and to let these people understand what you do. And the first question right off the bat, what most people will probably ask is, what does a music director actually do? Like, what's your job? What do you do all day long?
My job is to pretty much see the show from beginning to the end. Any concert you go to that I am a part of as a musical director, I probably created all the content, hired the videographers, hired the band, helped with choreo, helped with creative direction, segues, intros, arrangements of the songs. I might play in the band. Pretty much everything from beginning to end on a live show, or a TV telecast, or an award show, usually comes from me.
So that means you sit down with the artist or the band and you actually build the show, like either like on an outline, and you tell them this is what I want, where, how, like you produce the entire show before it gets produced, so to speak.
Yeah, I sit with the artist first before I even hire the band, because we don't know what iteration of the band we're going to need. It might be a DJ and a drummer. It might be a 4-piece. It might be a 5-piece. It might be a 6-piece. It all depends. It's different. So I usually get with the artist first, maybe a month or 2 months before rehearsals start. If there's a creative director, get with them and the artist, and we map out what their vision of the show and the experience is going to be. And then we go from there. And then we build it. We start building it musically, find out, what things we're going to need visually, and then we start going.
Now, I always thought music director was the guy behind the keyboard orchestrating everything on the stage. It's that too, right? Like in addition to what you're talking about.
Yeah, it can be. A musical director is different from a musician. Now, traditionally, a lot of musical directors did play. A lot of them do play. And I believe personally, if you're a musical director, you should be able to do everything that you're asking people to do. If I'm telling the bass player you should play an E, I should know how to go over there and find the E. Drum,
right.
piano, whatever. I can't play all instruments, but I'm good enough to move my way around. But a musical director usually sees the show from beginning to end. I have friends that are musical directors that don't play at all.
Wow. Okay.
And they're good and they work.
Okay.
Obviously, there's different opinions, which But it's like P. Diddy is a producer. He can't play.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, I do though. I do play.
I got you. So you're a different breed. That's why you're so sought after, man, because you do a little bit of everything. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you discover that this job even existed? Because I mean, I didn't know this was a real job I could get later when I was a musician playing in church. How did this come about?
Well, what happened was I was playing in church, grew up in church,
Yes, sir.
uh, and I was playing in church, and I got the opportunity to do some things outside of that. And some of the things that I was just doing, in church or with bands around town, some of the people that were hiring me, I started to notice they were doing the same thing and hiring me. So it was just like, well, wait a minute. So this is actually a thing. Like, yeah, there's a different, what you're doing. People will pay you for your ideas. They'll pay you for, what you think. And it was like, oh, and then it just kind of went from there.
Wow, wow. So you were around this whole thing, and people were like, "Oh, I could do this too." You kind of saw it because you
Yeah,
were in that
yeah.
field. Your
I
family
was
was
working
surrounded by
for other
music.
MCs, and I didn't know.
Wow.
I didn't know I was doing musical direction. And
Wow.
then, somebody pulled me to the side, like, yo, man,
You
you
could do
can.
this.
I was like, really? They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh. And then,
So how'd you get the nickname Mr. Kylnik?
well, in high school, I was going to school to be a pediatrician. I went to a high school that
No.
had a health academy.
For real?
Yeah, yeah. I was
I
going to
would
work.
have never saw that
Yeah,
coming.
yeah, yeah. My dad is the head ER nurse over at St. Jude in Los Angeles. He went to USC. I was going to USC. I had the grades. I went to a specific school for that, and that was the goal. And I got called to do my first tour while I was in college, and so I
No.
had all of this. I was young. I was trying to be cool. I had all of my pre-med like stethoscope, my jackets. Like I had all this
Yeah.
stuff. And so there was a part of the show where there was an intro,
Hmm.
and it was like this rumble kind of like earthquake thing.
Okay.
The
Okay.
2000 intros was all the same. Everybody had the rumble at the top, right? And so I had like 4 keyboards, and my tech, this guy named Jamie, he came to me and was like, "Man, when you start the show, it's like we're in this mad scientist like laboratory." And so I was like, "Ooh, well, if I wear the jacket, I went home, got my jacket, and had the stethoscope." So that was my thing at the top of
Yeah.
the show. And so it was like, yeah, it's like we're going to this evil science space in Brazil, like a clinic. And I was like, clinic, okay, yeah. And I'm Mr. Kylnik, and I just kept with it.
Wow. Wow.
Funny,
It's
but
amazing how these stories come together like this. And I'm thinking you wore the jacket. I'm thinking Dr. Fink from Prince's days when he had the whole jacket joint, but you wore yours a whole different ball game. That's wild. That's
exactly,
wild.
exactly.
So, go back a little bit and, when did you discover that you had a gift for music, period? Because you said your whole family was musical, but when did you go, oh, I got something I could be doing? And I can see you played in church. How'd that get started?
Well, music for me was never going to be like my profession. I was just gonna do it like as a hobby, and I was gonna finish pediatrics. And then I was playing at a church, and one of the guys was he was on a gig, which ended up becoming like my first thing. And when I got my first check, I was like, oh. And then I told my dad, who, like I told you, was at St. Jude. And so I had like we did like a 3-4 month tour. And when it was time to do my taxes, my mom was just like, yeah, we can't go to H&R Block. I was like, really? She was like, nah, we can't.
Mm,
And then I was like, oh, this could be a thing. And I wasn't gonna do it. I told my
wow.
mom, I said, I'll keep doing it. I'll stop when it slows down, and I'll go
Right.
back. And it never slowed down.
So, but were you always playing as a kid? Like, when did you discover you could play?
Um, yeah, I always played. Like my family, everybody played. My uncle plays organ. My cousins play. You know what I mean? So it was like I knew I could do it.
So you
I didn't
sat at a
feel like I was.
keyboard and you just started playing. It was just like
No,
boom.
I played drums first. I played
See, there
drums
you
for a long
go.
time. I didn't actually pick up piano, which is crazy because it's my career now. I didn't pick up keyboard until I was like 15, 16.
Ah,
I was
see.
late. I was late on piano.
Wow.
I just knew I was gonna be Dennis Chambers or Brian Fraser Moore or Jamie Gamble, somebody. I just knew I was gonna be somebody like that on drums. And then I started keys, and then I realized I was good when I could play pretty much any song that was out. I
Ah,
was on the
wow.
radio and I would just play songs, and I was like, I might be okay.
So you had that natural ability from the get.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Did you ever take lessons?
I definitely did some schooling,
Okay.
because a couple of my uncles play and they read, and
Hmm.
my mom reads.
Hmm.
She's a singer, um, and so I definitely did a little bit of schooling. I haven't really had to use it. Um, Maybe a couple of times. My reading is a little rusty, and then in school I played a horn. I played
Okay.
trombone.
Man, you've done a little bit of
So
everything. Drums, trombone,
yeah,
keys. Look at you, dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So knowing that then, being a full-time musician is a grind. Because you were saying you was gonna be a pediatrician. That was the
Absolutely.
before gig. Did you have like regular jobs before you did the musician thing, or did you go from pediatrician to musician? How did that flex?
Um, I was in college. I The wonderful thing about my journey, and I thank God for it, was I never when I started touring, I was 19. So
Wow.
I was in college.
19?
Yeah, I was in college and I was playing at a church. So my mom's agreement was as long as I kept good grades in school, I didn't have to go to like Target or like have
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
hard job.
Yeah.
And then because I played at church, um, the church paid me pretty cool.
Oh, well,
I was
that you were straight then.
yeah, I was so it was like, all right, cool, I can kind of do that. And so I was making pretty good money, and by the time I was 19, I got to like a nice sized church.
Yeah.
It was cool enough for me to get like an apartment.
Yeah. Look
And
at
then
you.
I got called to go on tour.
So your first MD gig was who?
My first musical directing gig was Estelle.
Wow. Okay. So that
Es-
took you to the next level. I mean, how did
Yeah.
that change your viewpoint of what it meant to be a music director?
When I became a musical director, it made me look at shows completely different. It made me look at musicians completely different, bands. Like I was a player and only a player, so I understood it only from that viewpoint. You kind of have tunnel vision. You want to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
You want to play. You want to get your chords out, your licks out. But when you become a musical director, you got to think about everything. You got to think about the venue size. You got to think about what makes the song. Is it
Mm,
gonna is a drum lick gonna make the song,
mm,
or is silence with a 808 bomb gonna make the song
mm.
what it needs to be for the live experience? Like when you kind of start musical directing, you start thinking about what is it that the song needs versus what can I get off. To me,
Yeah.
that's just me. Like when I first was playing as an MD or like as a band guy, and I first would arrange my stuff was super musical, like,
Hmm.
all that stuff. Right? But as my musical direction improved, you start to find that there's a beauty in what you don't do.
Yeah.
There's beauty in space,
There's
and then
beauty in space.
when you start doing arenas, then that's a whole nother world. Like
Hmm.
it's different than House of Blues and
Yeah,
theater.
man.
So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Wow. Wow. Well, man, at this stage of your career, you have worked with the top notch. Let me get a little list of people: Ciara, Neo, Prince, Kanye West, Backstreet Boys, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Was there an artist that you work with that you felt like, oh, when I got to this artist, man, I must have made it? Did you have that moment?
Um, it was at different parts. Like at 19, being with Chaka Khan is just like, I mean, it's Chaka Khan. Your parents grew up on Chaka Khan, so it's like, oh my God, it's Shaka. And then I got Ciara, and Ciara was my generation. So when I was in ninth, 10th grade, she was blowing up, like her song hit. So it
Yeah,
was just
man.
like, I got Ciara, right? But then I got when I started working with Prince, and I worked with him for that BET Awards show, and we did some runs with him with Shaka. Like it's Prince.
Was he
So
amazing? Like, is he amazing as he seems?
oh man, And I wasn't even like directly in his band. I was able to work with him because of Chaka Khan. So I was doing
Right.
stuff with him and Andrew. But I mean, it's there's some people that's just like, and it's
Yeah.
that like he's
Yeah.
that. The whole
Yeah.
experience is that like, and he's so talented. So it's
Yeah.
just like there are some people you see and it's just like, okay, they deserve.
Yeah.
Like people say that about Beyonce, like when you've worked with her, or Ciara too.
Yeah.
Like they work really hard, and you
Yeah.
see like that's how they. Like there's some people that's like, how do they make it? Nah, Prince ain't that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been different spaces. I know Backstreet Boys and Ricky Martin was big.
They had to be big tours, man. Those are huge tours.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah, those are crazy
Oh,
because the
and we're talking
Backstreet
about
Boys.
screaming arenas of fans and the whole. I mean, their fans are crazy loyal. Backstreet Boys, Ricky Martin, nutty, right?
Yeah, it's crazy because with Backstreet Boys, that was one of the first gigs I ever had where the fans knew me when I pulled up, like to
What?
like because the fans are they crazy fans.
Yeah.
So like you're doing something, they'd be like, "Hi, Javon, are you guys gonna play great today?" I'm like, whoa,
Oh no!
you know.
Wow.
Ricky Martin was another one. I
Yeah.
think I might have done my biggest cry because overseas he's Elvis.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Like
it's
that?
just like you go somewhere and the whole city shuts down.
Yeah. And I see this dude. I'm thinking, is he that talented? But he must be that good.
Ricky's good.
Yeah.
Ricky is one of those. You know, America is different because
Mm.
in America you're supposed to do this, this, and this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you have a lot of artists that make it and they break over here, but it's harder to break in America,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're not from America.
Right.
And and Ricky, I mean, Ricky sings, he dances, he knows all the keys to his songs. I mean, and his attention to detail is like he's like I said, like with Prince.
Yeah.
Like there are some people it's like, oh, okay.
Then you get it. You get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So now that you've become successful, as they say, you've been to the top of the mountain, so to speak, your resume speaks for itself. Is there anybody out there that you go, I still want to work with that person?
I would like to do Drake.
Drake. Okay.
Drake would be fun. My friend is his musical director.
Okay.
My man D10. Uh, Canada-based guy.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
D10 is good too. He's another good one. I
But
would
you
love
say
to
you want to work with Drake. What attracts you to working with Drake?
His music is just Drake's stuff sounds so fun. Like
Yeah.
it would just be because everything is just a vibe. It's like Sade meets Migos.
Yeah.
Everything is so musical, but it's just so tight. And then
Yeah.
his resume of work is just so
Yeah.
large that it's just like the whole show is hits. So
Yeah, his vibe is cool. His vibe is straight chill.
I would like to do him. I would love to do Metallica.
Wow, now that's a jump for you.
Yeah, I would love to do Metallica or somebody like really big on the rock side. Like
Yeah.
I would love to do that just to see it. But everybody else at this point,
You have worked with the biggies, man.
yeah, I mean it's a couple I haven't worked with that some of my friends have, like Jay. I haven't done Jay-Z. All my friends have done Jay-Z. I would love to do Jay-Z. Kendrick, my friend, is his musical director.
Yeah.
But it's like and it's not to take anything away from them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it's just like, Metallica, yeah, like
Yeah.
like
Them boys gonna go at it. Yes, sir.
That's kind of almost not out of reach, but like you said, like when I said Metallica, you was like, what? Like when I got Ricky Martin, all my friends were like, wait, you want Ricky Martin? Like, so it's like kind of like that.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Well, here's an interesting thought. You've been on the road for years, and most people think it's just glamorous, it's easy, you're out there having a blast, you're having parties.
Right.
Not so. Tell me about an average day on the road on tour.
Woo! An average day on the road. Let's go. Let's say we're a weekend. A weekend. A weekend on the road. This is how it starts. You got into the city. Let's say you did a show the night before. So you got into the city. And this is like a good tour. This isn't like where you got a different city every night. This is like budget, right? Like a Ariana Grande, Ricky Martin, 2 buses. You're getting up for travel day. A travel day is usually leave at 6 or 7 in the morning. You got to get on the tour bus. Your tour bus is like a bunk and 2 kind of sitting areas. You got to repack all your stuff, load the bus, get on the bus, sit on the bus for maybe 3, 4, 5 hours, get to the next city, check into your room, try to unplug just a little bit because you probably got an hour to maybe 2 hours before sound check. You do your sound check. If you're with the headliner, your sound check is like probably 4 to 6. Um, uh, 2 hours of sound check. Make sure everything's cool. Get back to your room. Sit in your room for maybe an hour, hour and a half. Call is usually 7 or 8 o'clock. Get back to the venue. Sit at the venue for an hour and some change. Get dressed, wardrobe. If your show usually going at 10, so you got to start getting dressed 9:30. You go sit at the side stage at 9:40, because you got to be at the stage before you go on stage. Video package runs start at 10. Usually, if you're with the headliner, you're doing an hour and a half to 2 hour show. Maybe 1 or 2 wardrobe changes. Get off stage at 11:40. Go back to the room. Go back to the dressing room. Put your clothes back on. Um, uh, uh, Wash up a little bit. Put your clothes back on. Get to your room. You're in your room at like 12:30, 1 o'clock. Hopefully something's open or they did after show food. If not, it's probably fast food, which you don't really want unless you already prepped your stuff.
Wow.
And then you get up the next day at 9 a.m. and do it all over again to either go to the next city or you do another show.
So
That's
this isn't glam. This isn't parties every night, hanging out, doing your thing. This is this is work.
The parties happen.
Yes, sir.
But this is just a norm. That's like a normal Wednesday on tour, Friday on tour. Now if there's a party, then you go to the party afterwards. And the after party is till 2, but then you're only getting 3, 4 hours of sleep. I have a daughter now, so I got to call her, got to check in with her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got that, and for me, it's even more because a lot of times I have other things going. So I just did a tour with Snoop Dogg, and I'm out on tour with him, but I was prepping Ciara's New Year's Eve performance that she did on ABC.
Wow.
Rockin' Eve. So I'm arranging that, approving mixes, doing shows with Snoop, getting off stage with Snoop to hop on Zooms with Judy McAllister at West Sanders because we have Brian Courtney Wilson come in for Christmas.
What?
It's like it's all these things while you still have to,
Man, see, people think it's just glamorous. You showing them it's work, kid. This is real deal. This is not no party. It's work all day, every day, man. You out there hustling. You out there getting your hustle on. So nothing but love and respect, man. Nothing but love and respect. That love and respect.
Sure.
I also noticed that you become a bit of like a brand ambassador. A lot of the companies the products that you play, you have relationships with like Nord and Roland. How do you cultivate those relationships as part of the business of what you do?
Well, the thing about music is people don't realize this is a business, and we are so in love with, like, especially musicians, we love being on stage, we love playing, we love just everything that comes with the experience, but there's a business aspect to it. And the truth of the matter is, when you start working with all these artists and these clients and you're playing a lot of the gear that is sold at the stores, this is the same stuff that we went, when we were kids, spent our hard money to get.
Mm-hmm.
So, now, whether you like it or not, if you're out with an artist that has a national exposure of any shape or form, you're an ambassador for whatever you're using. Mm. And a lot of my friends that aren't musicians, they do sound. Mm-hmm. They have amazing relationships with all these different backline companies.
Sure.
And I'm like, man. And so they started telling me, like, man, no, I get this and I rent this out and it's another source of income.
Okay.
And so I just kind of followed their footsteps and just started reaching out to different artists.
Wow.
And because I was with artists, they were like, "Oh, okay, well, I did my part. I get gear. Some of my stuff is free, some of it isn't. I don't mind paying. Um, I don't exaggerate any of my relationships,
Sure.
and then I
Sure.
bring them people.
Yeah.
So then I'm pushing their brand as well.
Because you're doing
And
video content, stuff like that. I see you on YouTube quite a bit.
yeah,
How did
yeah.
all that? Was that something you offered to do, or is it something they asked you to do? How does that work out?
Well, a lot of times when I got my first couple of endorsements, those things were in the contracts
Mm.
because Instagram and YouTube was still I feel old, but YouTube was still relatively new. So that was a new frontier for all of the companies. A lot of the companies, you were getting endorsements, and when I was coming up, people, you could go to NAM for free
Yeah.
because they needed
Yeah, man.
assistance. Now you got to pay.
Yeah, man.
No matter who you are. So when I was coming up, I just you kind of start. They wanted you to do videos for them, and as YouTube grew and Instagram happened, it was like, okay, well, they started making those changes in the contracts. So then I just started doing it. Period.
Yeah.
I was like, well, because now I have my own audience. So it's you have two birds with one stone. So
Yeah, man.
anytime I do a show, I tag the whatever I'm using, and I try to use just like how I met you. I try to
IK
use my stuff
Multimedia, what's up? Giving you a shout. IK in the house,
IK we out
in the
here.
building.
We do. But and that's just kind of how it happened. And what I just started doing was I just bet on myself. Everything that I had or that I owned, I looked at it like, that's a Roland. Let me reach out to Roland.
That's it.
That's a da-da-da-da-da. That's a da-da-da-da-da. And then I was so happy to meet you. But even before, I got with IK, a lot of companies all had the same reps.
Yeah.
So like me and you were friends,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, God forbid, knock on wood, you'll never leave IK because you love them there. But let's say in a positive realm, you
Right.
don't leave IK, but then IK absorbs,
Yeah.
your legs.
Yeah.
Well, now you're at your legs. So now it's like, hey man, I'm over at your legs. I know that you use foam.
Right.
Why don't you
Booyah.
do us something? Get us some more people. And
Yes,
so that's
sir.
just kind of how it happened. Like a lot of my endorsements, like with Novation and Focusrite, for example, they were the same rep.
Yeah.
Two different companies.
Yeah.
And now, yeah.
So it's about relationships. It's about the products you're using. It's about leveraging your influence and what you're doing in the industry and making sure that that business relationship works as it grows. And you said a perfect thing. And for all the people that are watching and listening, so you kids out there that are making music, becoming successful, you're trying to become an influencer, so to speak. Whatever gear you're using, reach out to that company. You may have a following that may go, hey, right now, Instagram and YouTube, all this stuff is so popular, they may want you to talk about their product. So reach out. It can't hurt. Java's already reached out and met multiple people. And I think, another big reason I wanted to have you talk is that there's so many kids out there that don't know where to start. They hear your story, they see you on stage, and they go, well, how can I get to that?
Yeah.
And we want to say, hey, it's possible, man. It's possible to even start. It's possible to get out there and get your name recognized. It's possible to hang out with the right people and find that marker, find that place where you belong. It sounds like, though, for you, you were in the right place at the right time, and your family,
Yeah, man. And I agree with all that because that happens. It's happened for some of my friends. I will say, and I don't mean to be, because we love everybody.
Yes, sir.
Public forum, we don't judge anyone.
Yes, sir.
But for me, God was my source.
Yes, sir.
Everything that I got came from that. I
Yes,
got
sir.
discovered in church.
Yes,
Some of the
sir.
people that gave me my biggest opportunities were believers, and I had moments where some people rocked with me that were in high places because not necessarily. Well, I think it's because I was Christian, but a lot of people told me that I was different than everybody else. And they didn't always know what it was, or and the thing about being on tour, what I will say, and I want everybody to know, that is one of the only jobs where you have to get along with everybody. When
Yes.
you're on tour, it's great for people that want to love everybody because my tech is Buddha.
Hmm.
My monitor guy could be atheist.
Right.
My drummer might not believe in God at all, but we
Right.
all got to eat. We all got to go to catering.
Yes,
We
sir.
got to find a way to be around each other. He may smoke. I don't smoke. He might drink. I might drink. He don't drink. Like,
Right.
and
Right.
everybody has to learn how to coexist. So, I know that didn't have anything to do with it, but that's something that everybody also needs to know. Like, when you go on tour and you start working with artists, it's so many different shades of color.
Mm.
There's so many different people, different types of people.
Yeah.
And so being a good person really helps sustain you because there's a lot of people that work not because they're the best. They work because people get along with them, they do their job.
Yes.
We grow up believing that you got to be the coldest on your instrument. I know I'm not the best.
Right.
And yeah, I work pretty good. I think I'm pretty good, but I know I'm not the best. But I work very hard.
Mm.
And to bring it to a close for me, I think what really did it for me was perseverance. I I tried to take every gig like it was very important to me.
Mm.
I was out with Fantasia on my first gig, and I got called to do something really big. Some people might not have done; they might have left and went to the bigger gig.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, but my name stayed good with her. Her
Mm.
MD ended up becoming Rihanna's MD.
Mm.
Smith before Adam Blackstone got it. You know what I'm saying? So you
Yeah.
just never know who you're gonna come across. So you have to do, everything. But for me, it was God. I tried to be proficient on my instrument.
Mm-hmm.
I was always on time. Um,
Yeah.
and I just worked really hard. And that's really what's done it for me. The rest was just praying and being in the right place at the right time. Now I do know of some ways that people that didn't have the journey I have that are doing pretty good did.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind sharing that with people coming up.
Sure.
But for me, I was just blessed.
There it
I was
is.
at a church called Friendship Baptist Church in Yorba Linda, California, and me playing there, that's how I got everything. Alex Evans playing bass, Bennett Paysinger, who's the musical director with at the City Refuge, which is another big church in LA, but he also does Jamie Foxx, Destiny's Child.
Mm.
And I was at the church, and one of my friends, her name is Desiree.
Mm-hmm.
She told me that I was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh man. And she kind of made sure that I stayed in place there where I need to be. And Alex Evans ended up becoming a bass player, gave me Fantasia. From Fantasia, I got Chaka. From Chaka, I got this. From this, I got that. Then Backstreet Boys. From Backstreet Boys, I got Ciara. From Ciara, I got J-Lo. Like, it just all kind of just kept going. But I treated every gig like it was important. So that way, when people asked about me, it was like, oh yeah, Javon, oh, I did this with him. Oh, I did such and such with him. Oh, woo, woo. And now, the guy that does Ciara production manager is Beyonce's production manager. You know what I'm saying? So then it's just like your name is in all these different circles.
Yeah, man.
Of turning around good work.
I love it, man. I love that story. I love the fact that you are connecting the dots, making sure people say number one, God was first. The relationships you built and how you handle people, how you love people was second. Your talent was actually third because you said, God's going to direct your steps. That was right out the gate. If He's directing your steps, you're going to walk the right place. But once you get there, it's how you deal with people, your relationships, it's how you talk to people, it's how you love people. That becomes your calling card because people remember how you treated them, how you was your character intact, were you honorable, did you do the right thing because it was the right thing, did you show up on time, was your word your word? All these things that we think, oh, it don't matter. Like, no, that's the stuff that matters at the end of the day. When they think Javal, they think, oh, he was great. His music was great, but man, he was always here. He made sure my stuff was tight. He never left without the job being done. If I called him, I knew it got done. That kind of stuff is the stuff that goes further. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely right.
So
right. And people remember that, and people remember how you do them. Like, shout out Damo Farmer and Lawrence over at 1500. When Damo plays with Jay-Z, he plays with Beyonce, he plays with Usher. He does everything. I mean, I think he just did a big commercial for Ford or somebody. And when he first moved to LA, he came to Friendship. and he came and played with me.
Nice.
And we worked together, and now almost 10, 15 years later, that's how I got the Snoop tour.
Nice.
That's how I've gotten almost every hip hop thing I've done has been through Damo. So you know what I mean? And,
yeah.
And we're the best of friends, and we didn't talk for like a long time because we were busy and we were doing different things. And he went out and did Jay-Z, and then we clicked back up, and people remember how you did them.
That's nice, man.
And so it's just the circle of elite musicians and elite musical directors is actually very small. So how you handle your work travels quickly.
Yeah, it is.
Especially when you start getting on the bigger things. And so, I've just been blessed, man. I'm not perfect. I've made a lot of mistakes. And God has sustained me. And so, now I try not to make those same mistakes. And I've been having a pretty cool run.
It looks like you are, man. I think we've been talking your ear off, so I ain't going to hold you too much longer. But I do have to ask this one simple, easy question, which you kind of probably know is already coming. But everybody you didn't play for, all the music you have done, when's it going to be a Javad Mr Kylnik Day record? What's the deal? Come on. I mean, you got one in the works.
People ask me.
Come on, man.
Ask me a lot. And for a long time, I didn't really think I was good enough to do an album because a lot of my friends are like, Bubby Lewis and Eddie Brown. I mean, just these amazing soloing musicians. And I'm not that. But I've thought about doing a Christmas record. And now that I have a daughter, anybody that follows me on social media knows she sings a lot. So I thought about doing somewhere it's just a bunch of kid songs.
Oh, wow.
Like, produce it, like kill it, like it's like a Drake or something. But I don't know. I when I do it, I want to be able to give it the time that it deserves.
Yeah.
And that's been another thing. Like, I don't want to do like a lot of my friends, they do records and then they go on tour.
Yeah.
Well, you can't promote your record. You know what I mean? Like, if I want to do it, I want to be an artist. I want to take the time to be an artist. And right now, I'm a musical director. So
wow. I am waiting for the Mr Kylnik record. I know it's gonna be fire. I know it's gonna be.
And it's gonna be all IK gear on there. So
man, I just appreciate you sharing a little bit of your story for my boys out here today that are listening to the podcast. And man, to everybody, shout out to your team and your family, man. I appreciate you just being here. And of course, shout out to IK for bringing you back to my world because that's how we got to each other. So IK Multimedia in the building. And man, if you need anything at all, we got you up here, right?
Yes, sir, man. I love you like my uncle.
Yes. So I appreciate you, man. And just thanks for stopping by. We're going to keep in touch on this, all right?
Okay, man. Let's talk soon.
And hang on. And to everybody out there watching this segment, man, we just appreciate you stopping by the podcast. As always, we want to make sure you leave uplifted, encouraged, and inspired. If you enjoy the content, do me a favor. Stop right now, pause, hit me with a like or subscribe to the channel. This lets me get the most updated content to you as soon as it's available. And most importantly to me, dearest to my heart, is if you really enjoyed this episode, enjoyed this segment, share it with a friend. We want to make sure everybody gets the chance to be uplifted, encouraged, and inspired. So so please do me a favor, enjoy the rest of this segment, and we'll talk to you soon at the Beautiful Now podcast. Have a great one, y'all. Take care.